This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz, and I'm very excited to be speaking with Lisa Ann Walter about Abbott Elementary. How are you?
I am great. It's a little busy in here, as you can see, because we're getting ready to go over to the big Disney FYC event. So I've got not just my glam team here, but also Chris Perfetti is here with his glam team. So it gets a little Grand Central Station-y, and I apologize. Dear viewer, my apologies.
We're happy to get a little solo time with you before you go with everyone else.
Well,
It's
thank you.
uh, it's an ensemble show, but it's always fun talking about Melissa and just seeing the antics that she's up to. Because she may be one of the more sort of like in control, stable, people on the show, but there's still a lot going on there, which is
You know what?
fun to
I
watch.
I absolutely accept your lovely compliment about Melissa being stable. Here's what I believe. I think that each one of the characters has moments of calm and beautiful peace and intelligence and great advice, and then they can swing in a hot second into wild ass crazy. And that's part of the beauty of the show, is that you, story to story, episode to episode, we're not entirely sure which ones that's going to be. I mean, you can sort of count on Ava being a chaos agent. You never know what Mr. Johnson is going to say. But even Gregory, this season, Gregory has had his moments where you're just like, what? So I think for me personally, part of the fun of playing Melissa is that she is one of the voices of reason, and being one of the elder statesmen there, besties with Barbara, always with the offering of advice. But every once in a while, she will take her earrings off and, cut a bitch. Like, you don't know. This could be the day she snaps.
Well, it's also been a rocky season of romance for everybody, and that started in an unfortunate way for Melissa, where she was very clear on not necessarily what she wanted, but more what she didn't want. And how did you feel about having to let, Gary go from the storyline?
Well, both as a performer, as an actress playing it, personally, I was quite I was really kind of sad, because I love Bruno Amato. He's a wonderful guy. He's really sweet. We have fantastic conversations about politics, and he was almost going to run against Kevin McCarthy, because he was in that district, and then he pulled out because it was unwinnable. But we have great conversations, and he's lovely and supportive and sweet. And as the character, as Melissa, I think that the letting go of someone that you truly love, and that you could see a future with, but just not in the way that they see the future. There's almost nothing more heartbreaking. I'm sure you know of a lot of couples, I do, where they're just not at the right place together. Somebody has decided last minute, oh yes, I do want kids. Or you know what I mean? It's like, then no, I don't want to move out of LA and go live near your family in Buffalo. I left a place with weather like Buffalo to come here. People break up for all kinds of reasons that have nothing to do with they love each other. So I used to think, as the hopeless romantic that I am, that love conquers all. You can make it work no matter what. If you really love each other, you find a way. That can be true. And then there are things that are just, this is true for you, but it's not my truth, which I think Quentin, the writer, so eloquently put it for Melissa, is that's just not where I am. And I don't need you to try to talk me into it. I know this about myself. Like I know I have red hair. Apparently my dog disagrees. Okay, it's sort of red. It
Yeah,
depends on
well,
the
I,
day.
well, I think that all makes a lot of sense, and I also like the fact that that gave us the chance for an unexpected roommate situation for Melissa, which I feel
Isn't
like
that?
almost didn't go far enough. Like it could have been, them trying to figure out if they had responded to each other. That was like a very quick moment, but I like that we got to see that and an unexpected secret friendship.
Yeah, and you know what was unexpected for me, both again as a performer and as the character? I think that Melissa immediately, and as does Jacob. Both of them are like, oh no. The immediate response is, oh no. And then there is a a, a little kismet, a little moment where you see beyond what you thought that person was, the entirety of them. And you go, no, I actually kind of enjoy hanging out with you. And that part of it was super fun to play because I personally adore Chris Perfetti. As I say, he's over here. Every time we go to an event together, he's at my house getting ready. Usually I feed him, but I'm on a diet because we're starting the next season. Oh, and if I'm going to be honest, I'm on a diet because Cheryl's son is getting married in Jamaica, and I'm not going to be able to hide behind big clothes. So I have to look cute for the wedding. So I did not feed him this time. But here's the other thing that was really interesting that was found in the episode surrounding that. This is my new buddy. Oh, I don't hate you anymore. Every once in a while, I'll still be annoyed with what you say, and I'm going to let you know. But no, the relationship has grown. It has evolved. And the person that was not excited about that was Barbara Howard, was Miss Cheryl Lee Ralph. And after about a couple of days of shooting the episode, where I saw that her reaction in scenes that I'm used to having always be very buddy, like we are in sync. And her reactions were a little snippy, a little standoffish. And I was like, are you upset that I have a new friend? And she was like, well, yes, I am. Wait, I'll have to do Barbara. You're my friend. And I was like, okay. Like, it made sense how she was responding. The character was jealous, just as there were a whole couple of episodes where she was not ever nice to Janine because she was mad that she left the school. Happy for your growth, but you left. So all of those opportunities that we have to play what's underneath and to find that in the shooting of the scene, I'm going to assume that the audiences get it because it's in the playing of it and it's our truth. But what I know for a fact is that it informs how I'm playing a scene. And that truth in the moment, those little snippets of reality are so incredibly juicy. Their flavor, it's what's on the page and the paprika.
Also always happy to see that because something we discussed maybe a year ago when we talked last was it's sad to see how people are so mean to Jacob and Janine. And I know that Quinta's writing this, a lot of this herself, so she's doing that. But it's nice when the characters who frequently get mocked get a chance to be in good graces.
Redemption. Yeah, 100%. And I think Chris's character has had a lot of that this season, which is lovely. We also enjoy moments where we see growth in the other characters. We talk about it when we're in rehearsal or when we're at table or when we're leaving table. We'll talk about, how the scene has changed kind of the public perception of what these characters just are. Unlike some other, I think that there are half-hour comedies that kind of stew. They stagnate in the world that was created. Because it's like, well, everybody knows who these people are, and let's leave it at that. We don't want to shake it up. Almost from season 2, we stopped the idea of showing who the character was over and over and over, and we started letting them change and evolve and react a little bit differently. And that's been true, I think, for each one of us. And Barbara Howard has moments of weakness where she's afraid to say that she failed or she's scared, and then she does. Ava's not in, she's always going to think that she's doing 100% the best thing, but in certain cases she actually does, and we let her have those wins, and I think that Melissa, who was so, I'm not going to say relentlessly tough, because I know that there were pieces that I found, again, it's what's on the page and plus. Somebody brought up the episode Art Teacher the other day and how much they loved that episode. And it reminded me that there was a moment there that I got to pick up. It was one of the first soft moments that Melissa had, that I got to pick up an example of the art project that she always did with the paper plates with the bunny heads. and she keeps the very first one that was ever made in a drawer in her desk in her classroom. And I remember holding it and being really soft and really just gentle and different than we had ever seen Melissa. And then of course there's a smart aleck line at the end, but it was so lovely to me because maybe it's not there written, but for my inner life, it was, I'm a white teacher in a predominantly Black school, and I'm being accepted and loved by my students. And look, here's proof. And there was such beauty to that moment. And I think we get little pieces of that here and there all the way through. And the audience sees it, whether they know it or not. They're feeling all of that, which is why I think that we're so loved, luckily.
In terms of injecting yourself into the performance, I know you had said previously that you like to add some of your cousins' names and that kind of thing to things. There one episode in particular where, Melissa's just talking all about her many siblings. How much of that is inspired by your own real life or anything like that, or is it all just the script?
That's so funny. Well, it's real life in my family. I mean, my grandfather was one of 12. So like if they wanted me to, go through that list, it would just be, Aunt Ida, Aunt Celia, Aunt Gloria, Uncle Tony, Uncle Frank, Little Frank, Uncle Dominic, Michael and Joseph, the twins that came at the end. Like everybody has in a big Italian family that one arm that had a bunch of kids. In my great grandmother's case, it was on her kitchen table in Little Italy. They're the real deal. But what was fun about that for me was that it was written. I got what the joke was. It was like, all the names, and a lot of them were the same. And I'm like, this is fantastic. And I understand the idea of the joke. Can I zhuzh it just a little bit to have it make sense? Because there's going to be a Kristen Marie, which is a sister we've all already met. But then, the next one, I said, can this one be Maria Christina? Because it's the same name, but flipped, right? And then there's my sister Tony, which is for Antoinette. They didn't write it, but I put that in my head. There's my sister Tony, my brother Tony, and my other brother. You wouldn't have a Tony and an Anthony. I'm going very in the weeds with this explanation. But the point is that exactly the idea of the joke we kept. And I tweaked the actual name, a few of the actual names, just like two, just a little bit to have it make sense for how we would name kids in a big family. And, ending of course with, and Seamus. He has a different dad. And that's the point of it. But I love putting the names in, and I love when I have the opportunity and they allow me. I always ask, but if I can put like a little Sicilian slang in. I've had a request recently to add into my to my arsenal of Gavones and Chooch and all the ones I usually use. Somebody asked me to say Shingad. So the next time, Strunz is actually I used in the pilot. It's a little dirty, we're going to be honest, but I think we can get away with Shingad. You'll see that. Well, I'll get you the spelling of that if you wind up using it.
I'll keep an eye out for it. What would you like to see from Melissa in season 4?
Well, we have wonderful writers. Whatever Quinta comes up with, I know it's going to be fun. I, we had a lot of episodes in this recent season because they had so much story that they basically had to shove into fewer episodes because of the strike. And at the same time, Janine was at the district. We didn't get to have her around as much. And you know what? I really missed her because, as I tell her all the time, people give you all sorts of flowers for creating the show and for writing and the brilliance that side of you is. But I think you're a phenomenal actress. And luckily the Emmys agreed, and she won last year. I miss working with her and having scenes with her. So any opportunity that we have as a cast to do what the rapid fire scenes that we do all together, where we all have an opinion and we're kicking them out, and it's very kind of 30s rat-a-tat-tat delivery, I dig it. That feeds my soul. As I love that kind of work. I love those kinds of movies. So I love when we get to do that. And then the one-on-one stuff. Like I did not have as much opportunity to do kind of heartfelt stuff little moments we find here and there I get to do with Cheryl, but I didn't get to do as much as of that as I would love. And then there are characters on the show that I would love to see Melissa mix it up with. I know that I can't tell you what the idea is because Quinta would kill me. But we were talking about a school thing because a few of us, me, Janelle, Cheryl, had kids that all have gone through school. And there are things that are universal, like fundraising and that sort of stuff. So we were kicking around an idea, and I think she said it would really be fun if you and Janelle were doing it together. And I thought that would be really great because we've seen them like this pretty much throughout. I don't know if you noticed, but there are moments where Melissa really agrees with Ava. Melissa's like, I don't want to like her, but she's not wrong. And those are fun for me because it's not what we expect, but her character is saying some outrageous stuff that Melissa agrees with. I would love to see them pull the same harness together on a project. So that'd be fun. And who knows? I mean, I don't worry so much about the love interest stuff. I like it better when Melissa's getting into trouble. I like let's see her start a business and have it almost fail and see what kind of strings she has to pull with the teachers at work or with her other friends. Try to make it happen. Anything that's wild. I'm into it. Let's go. I'll climb a ladder on a fire truck again. What do you got?
Well, here at Awards Buzz, we love awards, and I like to ask people if there's a show or performance you've seen recently that really you felt was very awards worthy. And in reviewing our last interview, you actually gave some great answers of shows that are no longer on, like Succession and Ted Lasso and The Great. So I'm curious what you've seen more recently that you think is particularly sticking with you.
Trying to think of, I know we just watched Palm Royale, and I loved Allison. I love Allison Janney in every single thing she does. I lost a role to Allison Janney, and I immediately went, well, they're right. That's a correct pick. Like, I adore her, and I thought Ricky Martin was wonderful in it as well. He was a real revelation. I loved his work. I I think Baby Reindeer, if people haven't been saying it, they should. It's crazy good. Uh, Somebody mentioned to me something about, does that happen with comics a lot? Because you know, doing it again, and it was a career of mine for 10 years. And I said, what? I'd be lying if I said that it never happens. We've all seen a bit of a psychotic break on a stand-up stage here and there, usually not to that degree. But also, it was not, I'm talking about before we had camera phones. So in the world of camera phones, you don't know what's going to happen. But I just thought both of those, the main actors were phenomenal. I don't know their names. Isn't that terrible? I don't know their names. Who else am I picking from? Give me some options.
Those are great choices. Those Baby Reindeer is a very popular answer to this question. People seem to really, really like that one. And yeah, it's always just interesting to see what shows people are acting in and what they enjoy watching. So very, very worthwhile.
Yeah. Are you enjoying the fact that I picked a potential competition as one of my favorites with Allison Janney?
That's okay. That's what we like the. I've enjoyed when I've been at an award show and see the tables that get along, like the cast of Hacks and Ted Lasso. They're always up against each other, and they
Oh, wait.
great
Okay.
friends.
I got to do it. I have to, please forgive me, but I am absolutely remiss in saying I adore Hacks with every fiber in my being. I love every actor on the show. And I have not seen this season for one reason only. And that is because I have a very good girlfriend that I binged every season with, and we wait until all the episodes come out, and then we binge the whole thing in one night. And I was waiting to not be, I was super busy. So I was waiting to be back from New York and not so busy. And then we're going to binge it together. But I can't imagine that Jean Smart and Hannah Einbeiner wouldn't be on that list. I mean, they're amazing. So I'm putting them on the list prophylactically.
Like it, and I think you should catch up soon. I assume that your two shows will be up against each other in a lot of categories, which is a very good thing.
Yeah, but you know what? I got to tell you that I am, well, I mean, I'm a competitive person. I mean, anybody that saw me on Celebrity Jeopardy knows that. I like to, I like for my show to win. I think we all feel like that. We're very proud of it. We're very protective. We think it's worthy. So I'm very supportive of my fellow cast members getting nominations and potentially winning. I think that that's wonderful. Last year there was a, list. People like to put out lists, and I get that. And it's a horse race in a way. And I've said, my reps get furious with me, but I'm like, it's not, for me, it's never been about like the money or even necessarily the award. What the award means is the ability to produce more work and to be considered for bigger, better other work. And that to me has always been my dream. That is my goal, is to make that work happen. When Jessica Williams was nominated for Shrinking, I'm saying her name right, Jessica Williams, right? Okay. When she was nominated, and as sort of a surprise, like, we were both vying for last position or whatever, I loved her work in that show so much. They wrote the living out of that role for her. And I was like, I love her. I loved her in the show. I thought that she was phenomenal, and I completely support. You have to be I'm not going to say that every single person that's been nominated every single time I'm like, yeah, I agree. There's one or two, but for the most part, the work is undeniable, and I support fantastic work.
That is a great outlook we should all share, and it is always a pleasure to be able to speak with you
What, should I
about
say
just
something different? Explain to
no,
me. Should I be like,
it's
the hell with
it's
everybody?
great. No, I think it's wonderful, and really, it's such a pleasure to speak with you again. Thank you so
Thanks,
much for your
honey.
time.
Thank you.